Hey everyone, live.
Hello.
So,
What's going on?
Think
Go ahead.
going good.
Good evening.
The Foundry server set up really quick.
Mm-hmm. Excited.
This is Link.
No, you can just visit. There we go.
All right, what are you guys seeing right now?
Still
One second.
loading.
All right,
It's a little bit slow.
should spawn you on the top right of a town. Go ahead and get to.
I'm on a select character part.
Oh yeah, go ahead and click your character
for-
on there.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
moment.
top right of a
my
town. I see
Hey.
a little tower and an archer.
My antivirus decided to.
Oh yeah, firewall and everything.
Yeah.
We start panicking if you guys see no background on the map.
I see
yeah,
a little
I'm
bird flying
currently
by. That's a
seeing
nice effect.
Man, the coastal town and everything. Yeah, those birds are pretty nice.
All right, let me know when everyone's loaded.
I can see the entirety of the map.
We do.
I believe that is everyone.
No, it's still not me. Sorry. I'm trying to get my firewall to allow the thing. It's being dumb and stinky, and I hate it.
Worst case scenario, you could use Edge. I know it was like a cool thing to say. Should work. So many monitors. So many monitors, yet still not nearly enough.
Never enough.
Right?
How many monitors do you have, Knight? Put up.
3.
Yeah, same.
3 technically. I have
Same.
a 4th behind me and a laptop set up next to that, but that's the work computer. So
So you got one more than me. I got 3 and then the laptop. I have the
Okay, I'm
the turnaround
Edge,
cam.
'cause
Every time I play D&D for my coworkers, it hurts me to go to a single monitor from my laptop. I'm so used to being able to see full size opera windows on 3 screens.
it is super hard to go back to one after being on more than one.
Yeah.
Indeed. You're suddenly aware of the limitations of the surface area that you have.
for crying out, how?
Oh, you can stream really quick. Might build it up here.
Sorry. No, it's a vast. A vast is being dumb.
Hey, did you know that website wasn't secured? Yeah, I know. It's because it's literally a spoofed IP address. Just let me click on it.
I know Chrome. Appreciate you're trying to help me, but really don't like just full screen just turning red. All my players and confusing everyone.
Yeah, but how do I unblock this? Please let me unblock this.
You're on like the main, like the red screen, right? Like advanced, and then
No, it's
different.
Good old advanced premium security. Block site.
Stream view, the PM view, your info
Mouse
/ob
notification,
/
go
Discord on the third
to
monitor.
advanced dashboard menu settings.
Stream up on the laptop.
Settings tab.
Chat. Oh, I gotta get one of those. Get a monitor and hook it up upper right.
That's what I should do. I should pop the
vertically.
stream up on the laptop.
I was thinking about trying to do something similar when I was mulling over the idea of streaming.
Yeah.
And then I found out that the easiest way to actually get people to watch your streams is to be consistent.
It's
And
very
with the work
true.
that I do, I can't do that.
But huh.
Okay, sorry about that. Finally, I got it.
You're nice. Alright, tell me when the map's loaded up.
Yatta, yatta.
Oh yeah, when you guys chat, you'll have your little
Stress
character
coffee.
portrait. I believe you guys have all, when we
Nice.
did session 0, selected your like color it all appear as.
Yeah.
Some of you guys aren't impersonating your characters, which is fine. I can just quickly change that.
Loading.
Impersonating Roy now. Leviathann. Impersonating Alyxend.
I'm in.
Perfect. All should be in order. Change. See.
I'm in the top right. I haven't been prompted anything.
As long as you see that, you should be good. Started.
Collapsing.
Sun rises on a new day. It is Autus the First in the year 110 PA, dawn. Denizens of the Great Archipelago find their senses engulfed by the sights and sounds of the morning, the coexisting lives of those else who call the world Aeternum their home. Greens and blues of the natural world and the wonders which mortal kind has forged from it. Wonders which truly exemplify the resilience of mortal kind. From towns to cities, tribes to full-on societies, from a spark of faith to world-spanning religion, and from but a fraction of strength into world-changing might. All was forged in the wake. Forged in the wake of a time when the world churned and the landmasses collapsed into themselves, and the society that was, crumbled, swallowed into the depths of Aeternum. This period of calamity, known only as the Admixtion, ended 110 years ago, and the world finally calmed. Finding salvation through the Admixtion via strength, divine intervention, or something else entirely, those that remained began to forge kingdoms atop the ruins of what once was. There's one such people that we look at today, the proud and faithful people of Gura. Predominantly human country and a testament to the ingenuity of mankind. Gura is the center of faith on the Great Archipelago and one of its most advanced nations. For the Church of the White, the devout and mighty are cherished, and the frail and faithless are chastised. Through God Emperor Solomon up in high heaven, giants of stone and crusading knights compete for sport and rank, and fight together in an endless war against the horrors of the country's dark neighbor, Lone. Hello everyone, my name is Adero, and welcome to Genesis. I will be your GM for the foreseeable future.
Hello.
I am here with KnyghtLyght, Leviathann, Princess Chennikins, Shadow, and Spartos. Welcome to 3 Curses, A Journey into Lone, the premier campaign for Genesis and hopefully one of many to come. Jump into it. It is this war of light versus dark, Gura versus Lone, that gathers our heroes here. To the southernmost tip of Gura's borders, head of the church, the heavenly hand Gos Pran, calls upon able-bodied and experienced individuals, regardless of their affiliations, for the first time in forever, to travel into Lone on a quest, the success of which may determine Gura's fate. The Howlers, a clan of dangerous lycanthropes from Lone, haunt Gura's shores. Rumor has it that these Howlers seek artifacts stained with the blood of their queen, who fought alongside them before the Admixtion. They plan to use this residual blood to revive their queen, and evidence suggests that they have the capability. It is the duty of the intrepid hero to journey into Lone and intercept these artifacts for the church. So our view focuses even further to the small fishing town of Silverbank, an otherwise quiet village overwhelmed with festivities and visitors from all across the archipelago. Being set on a peninsula adjacent to Lone, Silverbank is one of the several prime locations where adventurers are to be sent off from for this quest. So does the town celebrate a festival of sending to honor those that might risk their lives. Even further, our view focuses on one such individual at the city gate. Oh, that's loud. I forgot I had this enabled. God, that was loud. Stream thing popped. Alright. I'm gonna ask here who would like to introduce themselves first. They arrive at the gate in Silverbank. No ways roll for it.
Eager as ever, I'll go.
Alright. KnyghtLyght. Travel from a long
Hi,
time.
I'm KnyghtLyght.
Oh.
I'll be playing Aravi, and am I playing Rava or are you playing Rava?
You can play Rava. I will handle like if you want me to, I'll play him. But if I could just handle like
That way I'm not having a conversation with myself. So
oh
that'd be
yeah,
great.
for sure.
Oh, that's so much fun.
Yeah. Rava is a tabaxi and Bengal colored. He stands tall and is bright with his attitude. Strides up to the gate, excited as ever.
Very well. Aravi, you are greeted with the guard who will look down at you. Hello!
Oh, hello.
And you can always hit T for speech bubble when you're talking.
All right. Hello.
You're here for the Festival of Sending!
Yeah, I think so.
Very well. Are you an adventurer, or do you plan to partake in the festivities in some other way? Perhaps setting up some sort of merchant stand, or what's your purpose here?
Oh, I have no merchant skills. I'm definitely an adventurer.
Wonderful! Alright. The guard by the gate will open it up, and you'll be led into the town. Aravi, you're met with a nicely built, strongly kept, but a modestly sized village. Town. See a church, some sort of smith's place, a tavern, and just over the wall, the southern side past, you could see the sky darkens miles out into the water, towards where Lone is. A few things catch your eye. The map is yours to explore and around at. Is there anything that catches your eye?
Looking from the vantage point, there's a group of soldiers, militia, out in front of one of the houses.
Yes.
Does that seem to be anything to worry about? Are they doing drills? Are they engaged in anything?
Talking about over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would recognize those having traveled through Gura as members of the Guran Battalion, the military force here in the country. And it seems to be there to have some sort of captain or commander who is commanding them around. Doesn't seem to be anything hostile going on. They are doing drills. You did notice as you sort of glance around, that there's a more significant guard presence and battalion presence than you'd expect from a small village like this.
Well, that's encouraging. The more guard, usually the better. What do you think, Ravo? He turns down to his shoulders, and a small, almost cat-sized familiar sits on his shoulder.
And here he is.
He looks a little bit like an owl and a little bit like a lizard. It's a strange combination of creatures.
He says, I think that I'm hungry. I'm traveling for all this time.
Always hungry. Fine, let's get you something to eat. What do you want today?
I want human food.
Wonder if they have any of those meat on stick snacks. That was always good.
Let's go see. And you should have full control over Ravo's token. Just let me know whenever you want me to poof him out of existence or back out.
Excellent.
So,
I cannot move while the game is paused.
yes, of course.
Thank you. As we wander into town, do we see anything immediately qualifies as a food stall or a tavern?
Following the aromas in the air. Further this way, this seems to be some sort of tavern, and unlike other taverns that you might have run into, it seems that this village as a whole actually is much more lively, and you smell the sense of many different kinds of seafoods and other foods that might have been hunted. Well-prepared meals and lots of festivities going on. Just in general in the town, you hear a lot more. You see a lot more people coming by, both guards and civilians. Seems that a lot more is going on in this small town than usual. Additionally, as you pass by over here, you'll see the man below you sort of wave you down. Hello there.
Oh, good
Another-
day. Can I do
Another
for you?
hero. Take it.
No hero, but I'm excited.
Well, perhaps soon to be. Listen, would you like to possibly... hold on. Of course you're a hero. Come here to travel into the dark country of Lone. Of course, this must be your goal for glory and to be a hero, a savior.
I just want to help with things.
Well, perhaps you could prove yourself here and now. For a small gold price, I'll be modest, 5 gold pieces for you. I'll give you a discount. You partake in a Gurn tradition of myth and legend, the sword and the stone. Can you pull the silvered sword from the stone? Are you worthy?
No, I'm no hero. I'm not going to pull a sword from a stone, not less.
Oh, folly. Well, move along then. I could see you were going somewhere.
Do you know of any good places to eat around here? Anything for the festival?
Oh, the tavern, of course. Pulled out all the stops for this one. I believe tonight they're having a festival, or they're having a feast right before the sending, in honor of all those who would leave. Lots of food available there.
Hear that, Rava? Let's not spoil our appetite. Be just a light snack.
He's excited. All right,
Thank you, sir.
you move on to the tavern.
Make our way over there, eyeing the guard as we make our way by, out of curiosity more than anything
Mhm.
else.
She seems to be reprimanding a particularly out of line battalion member. Gives you a bit of a glance and a nod as you pass by.
I wave excitedly.
Back at the gate. Does anyone in particular like to go next?
I'll go next.
All right, Spartos. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your character.
All right. I am Spartos, and this is my character Karps. He is a Triton. He he usually is accompanied by a fish around him. He has a giant fish on his back with him.
All right. Going from far away, Karps, you finally made it to your destination. See a guard up in the tower go, "Hello!" He seems a bit worried. Doesn't seem like you're, can't come around here very often. Have you washed up from the water?
I wave at the guard and I say, "No, I walked here. I came up from like the other direction," and I just point like away from the city, like the water's away from the city.
All right, you have some sort of complaint about fishing habits in the town, or what are you here for?
Cave Fair Festival. Don't worry about the hunting problems. We eat lobster. It's kind of messed up there. Don't worry. It's not like that.
Very well. All right, I'll have the gate open. I'll signal to the guard at the gate, and you'll be let through. Again, you're met with the sight of the modestly sized but very nicely kept village. Does anything catch your eye in particular?
I go to. I see the sword in the rock. I'm very curious about sword in rock.
Ah, Triton! Where in these parts?
I wait. I say hello, and it's always like, "Hello, sir."
And you can use T for chat bubble.
Heard.
Right.
What is the sword you have here, good sir?
Don't tell me you do not know of the Gurren legends of myth. Sword in the stone. I who's pulled the sword is the mightiest of them all. You have what it takes.
I look to my back real quick and say, then I whisper, "Do I have what it takes?" Ask the fish.
Probably, I don't know.
That's as good as I'll get. I'd like to try a plot this random.
Wonderful!
Sword.
5 gold.
Do I get you?
What?
I have 5 gold.
You guys all have a starting gold cost or amount of 20.
I have 20. Yeah, give it a shot. I give the guy 5 gold.
Thank you. Mark that off your sheet. 15 gold left. Go ahead and try. I assure you will not be simple, but should you pull it out, you will be marked as the mightiest in the land. Would you like to try? All right. I'm gonna run a save roll request from you. You can go ahead and select it in your chat.
Oh, why am I going this way? Yeah.
Going to
I'm
be
gonna check
an athletics check. I will send it to you. Oh, I sent it to everyone. Oops. So let me just get rid of that.
That's why my thing's moving.
There you go.
I hit the
Yep.
dice. Yeah.
19 is very good. You hear like you hear something breaking as you pull. But you pull with all your might, and you're unable to get it out of the rock. You'll notice a slight bit of concern on Sterling's face, or on the gentleman's face. Good, wonderful attempt. That is the best I've seen so far.
Did I hear I almost had it.
Yes, you almost did. Unfortunately, you're like a third-rate based in the land, or best in the land. You're top 10.
Top 10.
That's not enough. You can attempt
Yeah, I'll
again.
take a top 10.
Another 5 gold pieces.
Nah, I'll take top 10.
Very well. Enjoy your stay.
Thanks for letting me try. I wave to him and I slowly and I
A
walk
little
away.
bead of sweat will go down his forehead. And it's up to you whether or not you see this, but as you, if you do end up turning around or looking at him, he's like fiddling with the bottom of the rock and looking like he's like pushing on the sword.
I look back to my fish and I say, top 10's not bad, right?
What'd you say?
I said, top 10's not bad.
It's pretty good. Those be better though.
Yeah, we'll come back
Always
to
room
that.
for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Looking back at the city gate. I'd like to go next.
Vidnov can go.
All right. This one's a little bit different. Where would you like to come in from?
Let's see. Let's come in straight from the north.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and your character.
Alright, I am Shadow. I'll be playing Vidnov, the talking raven.
Truly, having gone through a long journey, flying across the trees, you've gotten a unique bird's eye view of Gura's dark greens, fields, and trees. You're free to move over the wall. You've finally made it to your destination.
Yeah, so I'll just fly overhead, get a nice quick look at what the town looks like from above, where all the
Of
festivities
course, you
are.
can see everything. Is there anything in particular you wanted to know about?
What can I gain from being over the city about the boat that's at the docks at the moment?
The boat seems to be of dwarven make, and it seems to have there's be a little smaller boats off the side of it that seem to have these markings in the side and engravings. Seems like they are loading things up on it, and crews coming on and off. They're preparing it, or something.
And the marketplace is at the northwestern side of the
Yes.
town? I'll take a fly over there, see what's going
Right.
on. Just land on one of the tops of these stalls.
All right, easy enough. You see mostly fish being sold here, some other commodities, basic clothing, things like that. Two battalion members guard over the more than usually busy marketplace. See, an old woman will point up at the pretty raven, someone near her, but they don't seem to mind. They seem to ignore the woman. You have her attention.
When she points to me, I'll kind of dip my head. Good day to you.
Hey. Oh my god! Honey, he just spoke to me! It seems whoever she's with is still ignoring her in favor of looking at all the fish that are on the stalls.
So this is the fish stall?
Yes.
I will fly down onto the top of where the fish are and look to the stall salesperson.
Hey, shoot! Shoot! He'll grab a stick.
I'm a paying
Yeah.
customer.
What's in the make a charisma check. Just flat out charisma.
Let's see.
Charisma on your character sheet.
You. Oh.
Alright. It's a monster! Get it! You will see a bit of chaos start to stir as he'll grab a stick and start to swing. You're easily enough able to move away from that, but gotten the attention of the nearby guard here, who is extremely confused. Begins to approach the man. Not really taking mind of you yet. Just trying to see what what all the commotion is about. So I swear he landed right in my stall and began to speak.
Is there anything that I could gather from how much he's normally charging people for the fish?
It would only be a few copper pieces.
Yeah, then I'll pick up around a mid-sized fish and toss 5 copper onto into the same area that I took the fish from. Well, that wasn't
There
very
he is, he's making
kind.
off with my food!
I'll state before I begin flying
Alright.
away.
Cool. Well, you've caused a bit of a stir, but seems to be that the guard's gonna take the woman's words as nothing more than a guy who's mad that his fish got stolen by a wild animal. You will, after a few minutes, find the coin though and look up, bewildered.
And I'm still sitting there just pecking away at the
Yes.
fish.
Oh, you found yourself a meal. Ed? Back to the gate. I'd like to go next.
I got it.
Alright. And introduce yourself and your character.
Hi, I'm Leviathann. I'm going to be playing Roy. He is a normal human and used to be a student in the Arcane Academy.
See a guard up top will take notice of you. Hello! What business do you have here in Silverbank?
The guard will realize that he is tired. My boy is not the strongest, so he is exhausted from walking so long. He's going to say, "Hi, I heard about a festival, about some stuff to do over here. I came for that."
Yes, listen, we have a lot of wanderers coming in for this festival, but it is mostly for the intrepid adventurers that would travel into loan, or for anyone that might have something to offer them, like merchants or tradesmen of some sort. I'm afraid I can't let you in if you don't have something to offer.
Oh, don't worry about it. I have something.
Well-
My physique may not be the strongest, but I have something in my mind. He's going to move his shoulder, where he is going to. My boy has like a bandolier and it's full of stuff. You can see a small vials. You can see chemics inside them. You can see a dagger. You can see a crossbow. You can see that he's prepared
Yeah.
to some degree.
Make a persuasion check with advantage. I'll give you in for it. Go ahead and click that while holding shift for advantage. Doesn't work, then that didn't work. Like the whole advantage system does not work. Same with keybind related. Go ahead and request it again. 2.
Okay.
Alright, 16. Very well. Just make sure to stop at the tavern at some point, or stop at the church rather, and hear Father Claude's decree. Make sure you're just make sure you're up to it.
I will. Thank you so
I'll
much.
signal
good
to the
sir.
guard, and you'll be let in.
After he passes through the gate, he's going to try to stand like straight, take a deep breath, and just trying to appreciate where he is right now, because this is way out of his comfort zone or what he is used to. Trying to appear to be confident, even if he's doubting himself.
You all right there, sir?
Yeah, it's just been a long journey.
No?
Would you be able to point me where can I get someplace to rest, both physically and
Oh,
maybe
of course, yeah.
mentally?
There's a tavern. All the soldiers and other people here are being quartered in the civilians' homes, but all the tavern rooms are reserved for adventurers that would travel into alone. They'll point you over to it. Over there.
Appreciate it. It's a lovely place. Let's see what's store for it. I'm going to start walking and try to, move my head from one side to the other, trying to see what the people are doing.
Make a perception check if you're like investigator.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it again. Just ignore that.
Alright, that's okay.
Alright. See the man below? You see, well, first off, to the right next to you, you see targets set up. You see a few arrows splintered in them as if someone was using them recently. See a man below you seeming to... Looks like he's like trying to get a sword out of a stone, but on closer inspection, looks like he's just pushing it in further. He seems really confused. Seems that there's a bit of a stir going up at the church. Seems like a few people are entering and leaving at the same time. Something's going to be happening soon there. And below you, of course, see the members of the battalion doing drills.
The church. How does religion work here? Do you have like a specific pantheons, or like a specific church for every kind of god?
Almost exclusively there is a god for every, or some sort of religious group for every god. However, in Gura specifically, they almost exclusively worship the Church of the White, which is the pantheon of the three good prime deities, Salamane, Laitor, and Namar, which they're actually statues at the westernmost bit of the town. So you would not imagine there'd be anything other than Church of the White here?
Okay. I'm gonna walk and appreciate the architecture. He's going to remember. His mind's going to linger when he found like small details about the god that he's following. Well, not exactly following. He's not that religious, but he believes that the tenets that Naja is, how do you call it? That Naja says, or like the tenets
Yeah,
of
he
faith
follows
that
her
she
tenets.
has, basically, about trying to explore the world.
Common enough. Respectable
Yeah,
enough way to
dude.
follow this world.
He's going to just appreciate the structure and think to himself, way, well, it's a long way back home, but it's the best. World is big, and I need to make the best of my life. Let's see what's in store for me.
Very well.
He's going to turn and try to walk to the crowded place and try to go to a tavern because my boy is so
Alright,
fucking hungry.
food, some rest, sounds good.
Yeah.
Really quick, I didn't do a good job of letting you finish. Spartos, where do you think Karps would end up going after that? Spartos.
You're muted.
Anywhere with
Oh,
food.
perfect.
Anywhere with food.
Good to know. All right. And last but not least, back at the gate. Okay. I'd like to introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, my name's Princess Chennikins, but please just call me Chenny, and I'll be playing Alyxend. They are a cleric, and they are clad in very heavy armor, but they have the posture of someone rather old, I suppose. At least somewhat. Not the least due to the fact that they carry both a chest and a very heavy-looking bronze urn on their back, containing, well, who knows what, really. They walk with their quarterstaff braced in their hand, almost as if on a hike, or perhaps as a cane.
All right. Finally reaching your destination. The guard will take notice of you.
It has been so long. I didn't even think. They speak to themselves as they approach the gate.
Are you all right?
Yes, I am quite all right. This is where the sending is.
Correct. I'd be happy to have a cleric. Go ahead and hit on sign right away.
Of course. Please, pray tell, the church, prithee.
Oh, what of it?
Where might it be located?
Ah, you can see it just over the wall, just to the right as you come in.
Alyxend gives a nod, and they continue to
The
march
gate is
forward.
open before you. Let in.
What strange architecture. They continue to march along. And they will head to church,
Okay.
I suppose.
Priorities. Send you a different map here.
They're... Woo! Going on an adventure.
D&D. Oh, I know the issue. Give me one moment. Gave you guys all control over tokens. I did not give it to the king. I didn't notice in the last map because that's just an open map. Because now it's an issue. There you go. Just do the same for every other character.
Ah, there we are.
S-cam, observer. Observer. Okay. Walk in, you see traditional Bryn church architecture. Seems to be a man at the front who's silently reading something to himself, as there are just a handful of people within praying. Does not seem to have noticed you yet.
Are there any obvious holy symbols around the front?
Yes, there are engravings and markings towards the Church of the White, but actually more geared towards Amar, goddess of love. But enough markings of all Church of White gods.
Sure. It's more out of curiosity than anything, but Alyxend at least glances to see if they can see their sect symbol anywhere.
Make a perception check.
Buddy?
You do not, sadly. And if I recall, your sex symbol would be sort of crescent and sun sort of symbol, right?
Yes.
Not see it here. At this point, the gentleman up front will take notice of you. Hello.
Ah, greetings. And they will sort of hobble over almost.
Glad you have your priorities in order, unlike many of the other heroes that come through here.
Ah, others have already arrived then.
I believe most of them have gone to the tavern. Probably for the food and drink.
Sustenance for weary bones. Still, it is no excuse to abandon the light.
He will sort of squint a little bit and look over your attire and your antiquated heraldry, sort of. You are a follower of this faith, no?
Yes, an old one, perhaps, but a follower
I understand.
nonetheless. It has been quite some time.
See, it's good to have another one of the faith here. I am due to give a decree soon to all the adventurers who have arrived today.
Very well. If you allow me a moment, it is good to be in four walls such as these again.
Indeed. You're an ally to Gura now. You'll be able to find asylum in any church. The least that we could do for what you are doing for us.
Alyxend gives a formal bow, just about keeping balance, with all of their
Dexterity.
equipment on their back. They'll go to a pew, set down a cushion, and then set the urn on top of it before beseating
Oh yeah, they're carrying it.
themselves beside it.
Take all the time you need. I must ask, when you are done, you would head to the tavern and gather up those others that have arrived. I will deliver my decree right outside the church's
Of
doors.
course. Very well. It is the least I could do. And they will sit in contemplation of what once was.
How long would you say Alyxend's been traveling?
How long has it been since they woke up?
That's up to you. Probably.
A long time.
Alright. Sit and contemplate. This place is reminiscent. Familiar locales, but very different. What you're specifically used to. Feels pleasant, does not feel like home.
They gather themselves, making sure that everything is in order. Gather their precious urn. Very well. I shall find those that have also answered the call.
Thank you. Alright. Go to the tavern.
Wow.
Right. Well, individuals have already entered the tavern. However, Vidnov, you're finishing your scrumptious, not quite stolen fish meal. More smells begin to emanate that put your fish to shame. Back in the tavern nearby, you can smell a feast.
Well, seeing that there's these nice large statues of the white gods, was it?
The good gods, they'd be called, I guess.
Yeah, I think he would first go to the Liator statue
Very
to
well.
say a prayer. So he will land just before it, glancing up at it. He'll give a bit of a bow, more or less, before. Let's see. You did say that he would know Orin, correct?
Hmm?
The Aarakocra language. Yeah. So he'll say a prayer in Orin and finish it off with the quote that is most common in Common. To be free and merry is to live. Leator. Before he takes to the sky again to head towards the tavern.
Well, a beggar that's sitting at the shrine will take notice of your prayer and will look amazed up as you speak and then fly away.
And are there any
Definitely.
open windows?
Smell is wafting right out of one.
And is that one directly from the kitchen?
It would seem it is more from the main area.
Okay. Then I'll sit on the windowsill. Not entering quite yet, but looking over the
All right.
crowd within.
And transfer over to the end scene. March. And do you have Rava out?
Yes, I imagine he's hanging around by my shoulders. He'll be pretty quiet for the next little bit, though.
I'll put you in the corner. Ravi, you're first into the tavern. It is incredibly busy. A lot of people rolling around, but there is one table that seems to be reserved. There's a dwarven barkeep front and a woman coming out from the back with plates upon plates of freshly prepared fish meals. Alright. So, when we have scenes where... When you have scenes where only one person can see, I should have done this before, I will stream the stream cam review so you guys can watch on Discord. There you go. Okay, that was too much for Discord, apparently.
The DM's
Okay.
gone. We can do whatever we
it's
want.
KnyghtLyght says he's... Oh, he's AFK. Our department is asked about them. I'll give him 1 minute. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to do that again. I got like everything running, and I started to stream screen on Discord, and Discord literally just said no. My entire screen flashed.
Can't believe
I was
it.
very afraid.
It just exploded.
I love this too now.
All your
No,
streams,
everything's fine.
make sure they're alive.
Okay. Don't worry about that. We'll do instead is go ahead and just put everyone in the tavern. So, Aravi is currently up, producing some food for him and Arava. However, eventually, the rest of you all will make your way into the tavern. Including you, Vidnov, perched up at a window. This is lively.
Indeed.
The dwarven barkeep up at the top will... Further end of the building will say, "Hello! War heroes, we have a table reserved for you all! Come, take a seat!" You may do as you please.
Which table does he gesture towards?
Yeah, the
one
rectangular
I'm
table.
Directly next to? Okay. Vidnov will kind of hop over onto the back of this chair.
Mudbow, there's a bird in the tavern. Oh, they come in all the time. Give him a fish, he'll leave.
I'm answering the call. You said this was for the heroes.
So you're one of them as well. Where do you come from?
Seems. Let's see. What was that?
You come from Kresk.
I'm from Krisk.
Me as well.
Yes.
Listen, especially you with your small frame. Do not go. Don't go on the Don't go on the journey of sending. It's not safe.
Well, if it was going to be safe, I would have already been there without joining up with others.
Listen, I've been here for a few days now. The rest of my party went. I got cold feet. I could not, but I could feel it. They're not safe. It's not a good idea at all.
So, if you understand what adventuring
Yes,
is,
it's not killing yourself. For one.
well, I agree there's a difference between adventure and suicide, but you're free to make your choices, and they were theirs.
Not just. It's not that I have no reason to say these things. I could feel it. The party is unsafe. They were the last group to depart. It was a few days ago.
Well, I suppose I'll chase them then.
Do as you wish.
Ravi takes a bite of whatever meat skewer he managed to purchase, and then offers the rest to Rava, who sticks his head out of the scant fabric around the back of his neck. And
his head
chops
was
away at it.
he was facing the other way, looking at something else, and when he smells the fish, his head turns full 180 by itself, and he's very satisfied with his food.
Oh, speaking of, was there somebody I was supposed to talk to before I, went somewhere that I'm not entirely sure where I'm going, how to get there?
What are you talking
Who do I
about?
talk to? The whole call to
Yes,
adventure
well, I
thing?
believe that was from the head of the church.
Oh, right. I should have gone
Well,
to church.
not the one over here. The one in the capital. You were sent here, but, I'm sure Father Claude will deliver his decree soon. Of course.
And then feast after?
I would get to know the rest of your group. You guys will be traveling on a very tight quarters boat to get to Lone, I'm afraid.
Group?
We'll gesture behind you.
Aravi looks around, notices the obvious protagonist group in the corner, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
not the you mean not the commoner
thanks."
fucking bird's eye view tokens. Those aren't the group. Alright.
Clearly not.
They only have
suddenly
one extra
excited,
race.
he'll bound past our friend here, or up the wall and down the other side into the chair.
Ah. Those who seek to answer the call are to congregate in front of the church.
Oh, I just sat down. Okay.
Alright.
Hops right back up again.
Apologies if you had made yourself comfortable.
So remember to come back after. The rooms are all free for you all. All the soldiers are quartered in people's homes. You're all free to stay here.
Oh, do I, get
suppose
the free
yes.
room?
Would you benefit from that? Do you need some sort of help or something getting the door open?
Rava the bird dog.
I know.
Oh, you
freak
can
out
leave
about
a
it.
window open.
Yeah, we've never
Yeah,
met someone like
you talk
it's
though too,
It's
right?
like that though. I don't know. I don't want to say nothing.
Yeah, all right.
Vidnov will just hop up from the back of the
Alright.
chair and head out the window again.
Man, hearing talking animals is normal here. It's crazy.
Alright, let me go
Well.
ahead and grab you. Kia.
Is something amiss?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I'm sure everything will be fine.
Oh no, I see
Oh god.
doppelgangers.
Oh god.
I will
not
Initiative.
again.
My backstory.
Like the good old days when the timelines
Of
converge.
course. Alright. You guys have to wait for. Oh, there's a bubble in the back of my throat. As we'll wait in front of the church for just a few moments, for Father Claude will make his appearance. Breaking everything.
Oh,
Father Claude will begin to speak. Welcome all to our humble village. The people of our home, Silverbank, established on the southern coast of Gura, have long been veiled with the layer of fear. Fear of attack or invasion from the horrors of Lone. These fears have come to fruition more than once in my lifetime. We have been fortunate enough to receive the gracious aid of the Gorn Battalion and Church in the form of knights and walls. While we remain grateful, more grateful and even proud are we to be able to help facilitate an offensive maneuver into the depths of Lone. Such is why today, as we have for more than a week now, we celebrate and honor the arrivals that might soon depart on our behalf. Thank you, brave ones. You're welcome in our town. Drink, shop, mingle, get to know each other, and partake in the tests of might that some have set up here. Tonight the sending will take place, and you'll begin your journey to Lone by sea, and further onto the cast of Alaric, the suspected location of the first artifact of the Werewolf Queen. After his decree, there'll be a small bit of clapping from the crowd around, and he will step down to directly speak with you all.
Vidnov will bring his wings together to mock the clapping.
Father Cloud will take an interest in you. And of what might you be, Raven?
An
Incredible.
adventurer.
Well, under ideal circumstances, we would send members of the battalion or Gurren Knights themselves to Lone. Can't have those of the Holy Court tarnished in that dark country. That's why I believe that the Heavenly Hand sought out independent adventurers for this cause. Truly do thank you for taking it on.
I do think that we'll be able to help in one way or another.
Well, if I can be any assistance, I believe a member of the Hawk faction has set up a sort of archery test. Some sort of con men has set up some false sword in the stone thing. And I believe in the tavern they're playing drinking games. Be merry. Tonight we travel. Of course.
Drinking games and food.
The decree is over. I believe the feast shall begin shortly.
Excellent. I suppose first, though, I
Yes.
should ask who we'll be traveling with. I'm really interested in you, my little friend. And he looks down at the crow.
Yes, I will be traveling with.
I don't think it'd be rude, but are you normally that shape?
Well, of course.
Surely you understand that you are different than the rest of your kin.
It's all a matter of perspective.
Okay. I guess I will
Perhaps so.
climb that tree later. How about you, friend?
Yes, I will be making the journey across. It'll be good to see the world, no matter where it is we may roam.
It will be nice to have someone who at least looks like they're ready for a fight. That's a lot of armor.
Ready for a fight? I don't think I would go so far as to say that I'd be ready immediately for such things. I prefer not to get in such engagements where possible. But should the worst happen, of course, there's always the certainty of steel.
Wise and armored. This should be great. Don't worry, I'll stand in front. And probably in front of you too. Sorry, what was your name? Oh, I forgot my name. My name is Aravi. Nice to meet you. All of you. Maybe you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Roy. And yeah, probably I should be better in the backline. I'll definitely appreciate it. I will keep you guys covered as best as I can. I can promise you that.
And how about you? That's a nice skin tone you've got there.
Oh yes, thank you. I'm Karps. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all.
A pleasure to make your acquaintances. I am Alyxend.
And I am Vidnov.
Guess that the best way to know each other is with a drink and some nice food. What do you guys say?
Oh, food for sure. Let's go with that first.
Let's go.
I suppose it would be good to get acquainted.
Glad that we're all friends now. After the feast, you'll be departed. So you all know. Landing boats that we have. Special runic enchantments. They're small and they can only fit 4 people. I suppose this unique set of people is fitting. But they should protect you on the way in, but not much else.
Is there magic that afflicts people?
We're
that
not
come
sure,
close
but there
to
are
it?
constant cacophonous storms brewing from here to Lone, over the sea. Boats should protect you from any direct attacks, but you'll have to engage your own capabilities to protect yourselves further than that.
Vidnov will kind of look to the other 3. Well, hopefully the winds aren't too strong, or else I'll be grounded.
Robert usually hangs out with me when that happens. You're welcome to take the other shoulder.
I think
let him.
the invitation.
Sir, I like to pick the shoulder.
Aye, he seems perfectly nice.
But,
Well, then you can pick the other one.
he's frustrated.
Don't worry, you're still my favorite.
Vidnov will just cock his head to the side as he listens to the whispers.
Can they understand,
oh,
Rana, or is
correct.
it just me?
Point. You see him communicating with this familiar, though. You guys just hear, like, clicks and howls. Clicks and whoos. Somewhere between some sort of lizard creature and an owl.
Oh, so it's like some sort of amalgamation of Orin mixed with Draconic.
Actually, yeah. Well, the creature is, but the language seems to just exclusively be sounds and beast noises. Not really Orin. Creature might be partially Orin in nature, but there's no language to be had there.
Okay.
Alright. Town is yours.
Come on, Rob. I'll get you some food, and then you can learn to share with the rest of us.
This will be quite the trip.
Well, let's take the chance and enjoy the food. I am not a pessimist, but we should be prepared in case it's our last one. So,
It's always best to be prepared.
Those words. Transfer you guys over to the inn. All right. You notice that this group of people over here are taking in a drinking game. Seems to be getting pretty aggressive. This one guy is, you notice, as you guys come in, he will run out the door and puke off to the side. Not returning. Probably going home. Hey, we got room for one more!
And that is
Bravo's-
why I don't drink.
Rava's too busy figuring out what to feed. Or sorry, Aravi's too busy figuring out what to feed Rava.
Yeah.
Get him to stop.
So far, he's
smoking.
eaten everything that's been put in front of him. Very well, you're all seated. Hey, chop chop! To the desk, and out a platter of hyper-realistic food will appear. Enjoy! Tonight we feast and send these heroes unto loan. Alright. There are things to do in the town, such as shop or partake in a few of the activities outside. Though at any point when you guys are ready, the actual act of sending can occur and we can go and continue the adventure.
Well, it is noted that despite the fact that there's quite the lavish feast and spread in front of them, Alyxend doesn't eat a single thing or drink.
Karps is just rapidly stuffing his face.
Aravi noticing that Xend hasn't partaken. Do you vow of fasting or something?
A little more than that. My faith sustains me, rather literally, one might say.
Oh, a real man of the cloth then.
Indeed. Though it has been quite a long time.
Aravi's gonna make an inside check to see if he picks up on anything in there.
Wow.
Oh ho!
There's a bit of that sort of like wistfulness, like it's a bit more than just man, things were great like 50 years ago in the good old days. It feels like they're lost almost. They like even in this tavern they seem almost like a stranger in such a place.
Sounds like you have some stories to tell. But no rush. You can tell us whenever. Rava and I are pretty good listeners.
Perhaps one day I shall tell you plenty.
Does that mean we can have your portion?
Yes, of course. You'll need
Bravo looks
the
up at you.
energy.
In the midst of all the talking, they go for the meat skewer.
Aravi nods.
He'll nod happily.
to Rava. Yes, but share.
Here, yeah, one of these.
Face first. Yes. Oh, we love that.
Does anything on this
It
table
is
resemble
almost
pork in
exclusively
any way?
Fish. I will say there's one plate that has 3 or 4 skewers of meat, or skewers of cubed meat. Would you like it all?
Mm.
All right.
I reach for those.
Sorry, Overman will speak again. Should we have asked before serving this kind of food, sir? Oh, I can get you some. I'll get you
Is there
something.
crustaceans on the table?
He seems to notice that he's made a bit of a mistake, at least from his perspective.
Ah, crap! I served him.
What? Give the
Why do
fishman some
everyone think I
non-fish.
don't eat fish.
Yeah, really. Really. I mean, what do they think fish in the sea eat?
They do have some lobster and crab. Like, at your request.
I go for.
It
I
was
ask
brought
for
to
the
you and it
lobster.
is
I ask for the
delicious.
lobster and crab.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
Vidnov kind of just picks at a fish, having already eaten a full fish earlier.
Is that thing clean?
Hmm.
I mean,
That's
it's a
rather
sensible
rude,
question.
isn't it?
Yeah, he's referring
Is
to
he
Vidnov.
asking Vidnov?
As a thing, how rude.
Oh,
I
I mean, I
resemble a
resemble a
person.
fish.
He resembles a bird.
I keep myself cleanly, I'll
All
have
right.
you know.
We'll go back to his not so subtle judging of the entire group.
Well, when you are done here, perhaps you might join me in acquiring what scant provisions we might be able to pull together.
It seems like a wise thing to do.
He gives a nod, and Alyxend will depart first,
Okay.
considering they haven't eaten anyway.
Vidnov will kind of preen a little bit and then take a loose feather out and move up to this man and kind of like push it kind of partially in his collar. A magic feather. Before
Grab
he
it and
starts
just look at it.
walking,
Like-
hopping away.
Thank you.
It's
We'll give it a
definitely
look.
not magic.
Inspect it over, turn it around. It's like, God, that son of a bitch. Alright. So provisions, is it? Provisions. Right?
And I'll also head out to assist, but through the
Alright.
window.
Don't know why, but I have this image of you just barrel rolling out the window, just like flipping out the window. You don't
Oh,
fly
he
a straight line
definitely
ever.
parkours.
You definitely have the
as
attention
he
of several
hops
of
over
the
things.
the tavern
Yeah.
goers as you dance around in the air. Like, they haven't seen from creature. Alright, Alyxend and Vidnov going to the general store, or what else coming?
It's just a state.
Yeah, Vidnov does like a somersault jump onto the chair
Awesome.
and then a corkscrew jump through the window.
Okay,
Oh, so cool.
on outside, going around.
Careful, Rava, or
He
you'll be
did
too
not
big
hear
to
you, and
do
he
those
looks up
things
with
too.
a mouthful of food. A notable bump forming in his belly.
Man, it's a good thing
Coming
you
around,
don't have a real
I
digestive
see that one of the next
tract.
buildings over is a general store and smiths. In the back, you guys see a sort of anvil and setup furnace. There's a man working, going inside, coming out, going back in. And inside. Okay, we're here. Hello! How can I help you?
Ah. Greetings. We are looking for provisions.
Oh, we have
for
everything
the
here.
long
General goods,
journey
even some
ahead.
traveling foods as well. My friend Abel over here can hook you up with the best silver alloyed weapons. I understand what your journey is. And let me tell you, you will absolutely need to procure silvered weapons.
What is the normal going rate?
Here you guys could buy any general good, as well as anything can be found in the equipment section for D&D. Well,
Does it seem like that they have the supplies to be able to
they do
dip
out back.
weapons in silver?
In fact, they
that are
specialize
already
in a
made?
specific process that actually keeps it cheaper. They can
Okay.
turn a weapon silver for 40 gold pieces.
Cool. Something I can't pay for.
Hmm.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to acquire here?
Let's see. Let's see. Some extra
Yes.
rope would be
That can be
nice.
acquired for just a gold piece, 50 feet of hempen rope.
Good old rope.
Yeah, that turned. I got a gold piece.
Hmm. Do they have any silver daggers
They would,
here?
yes.
Well, would they have the amount that
Yeah,
would be
it would be
required
40
to
gold
purchase it,
pieces.
like on a sign next to it? Okay. Quite expensive.
Our silvering process is actually much cheaper than surrounding areas. But I assure you it is an effective coating, fighting lycanthropes and the such.
Well, hopefully we live long enough to get
Perhaps you
enough
could pull
gold
funds.
to purchase some later.
Oh, I believe there's an individual out, two actually. One who came into town as a recruitment for the Hawks. I believe he has an archery thing set up towards the gate. He bought a bunch of silvered arrows. I believe he's giving them out to winners, for those who could beat him in the archery contest. The gentleman also procured a lot of strong adhesive and a silvered sword, a longsword, I believe. He's also out front by the gate.
Ah, the fellow who the church head talked about something false silver.
Yes, some
sword
sort of carnival game.
thing.
Trivializing the importance of this event.
Is there anything that breaks
heat
down
would do the
that
trick.
adhesive quite quickly? We kind of turn. Would you happen to have anything that would be able to heat it? I've thought of something that would be quite entertaining.
Not in vast quantity, just a tinderbox and incense for my censer.
A shame.
You're lugging that urn around. You want something to put it in?
No, it is a duty to have it as is.
I understand.
It is difficult to explain. Though, perhaps some sort of dust cover or
Yes, of course.
a tarp,
Uh,
perhaps.
I'll say half a gold piece, and he can get something to up easily, put it over at the crane or something.
Yay. Protect.
So, if I pick up a silver dagger, how
about the
much
same.
heavier does it seem than a normal dagger? About the same. Okay, and
Yeah.
they would look distinctly different as well. Well, if I'm able to get one of these later, at least it'll be the same weight.
If you can't afford such tools, perhaps we can come to some sort of agreement or
Let's
some sort of
see.
trade. See, you are searching for certain artifacts in Lone, but I am certain that there will be more like it.
So you wish for us to bring back an artifact that they do not specifically want?
You
And
will see,
trade.
Isaac will look over at the smith over here, and he will take over the conversation. Yes. We would like to know the best ways that we can forge weapons to counteract those that Lone produces. Not that there's a single sort of standard for what they produce, but if we could just melt their alloys, understand their workings better, we'd compensate you for it.
Hmm.
I am sure such a thing could
We'd like to enter some sort of contract.
be arranged.
Possibly sell you something for cheap or for free now, with the promise of something in the future.
I think that before we sign a contract, we should speak to the others. But I do think that this would be very beneficial.
I'm sure I could agree to something. But yes, we should convene with those traveling with us.
Yes, and if these enemies that we run across do need to have silver to afflict them, I will certainly need it.
Very well. In which case, shall we?
Farewell.
Yes, we will return, gentlemen. Vidnov will perch on the top of Alyxend's hat or helmet.
It sounds strangely hollow.
Can I make an insight?
That's between you guys.
Sure.
Let's see.
Maybe just a very spacious helmet.
He'll just look down and cock his head a bit to the side, trying to organize his thoughts on
The
it.
tavern?
I think so.
Yes.
Right.
Greetings again, friends. Enjoying the food, I see.
Welcome back. Did you guys find anything interesting?
Oh, yeah. Great.
Just a few small bits and pieces for myself. Some rope, a tarp. But Vidnov and I have found something that may be of our immediate interest.
Yeah.
Yes, we were informed that silvered weapons would be needed to combat the enemies once we reach there.
Oh, well, I don't use weapons.
That is very good for you, I suppose. I can only use so
Not
much.
bad.
And Vidnov will duck his head into his feathers and pull out a comically large for his size dagger.
Hey, watch where you swing that thing.
Where did you even keep that?
This, however, is not
Oh, no.
silvered, and I need
There's a
one.
talk about that during every combat.
And then he'll place it back into his feathers, and it'll floof up for a moment before it settles back down. If I don't have a silvered dagger, I will be of very little use in combat.
And how much are we talking about for that silver dagger?
Oh, for a silver dagger, it's only 40 gold.
Hmm.
That's a lot.
Indeed, but the two that owned that smithery were interested in getting into a contract with us. We find weapons and artifacts that others do not want, and they will allow us cheaper goods now.
That's pretty brave of them, assuming we come back.
I agree.
I think it's a good idea to take that over. I mean, if they're going to give us weapons and that we need to fight the enemy, and we are already going there, we should prioritize getting the best that we can. We are going to eventually find someone over there, so I think it's a win-win situation.
Yes, I thought it best that we include all four of us in the contract.
Little side job is never the worst.
So if you folk would like to join us at the smithery so we can give them our desired weapons.
Very little. You see Rava's
How much
currently
food is left on the table?
scraping all the scraps up. Ah!
I
Licking the
pick him up
plates
and
clean.
drape him over my shoulder.
He's not the only one going for them scraps.
Yeah, I think we're done here anyway.
Send you guys right over. See, there's going to be. Yeah.
Robbie stands up.
Wait,
You're welcome.
And calls to the barkeep.
Listen, it is evening
Thanks
now.
for the food.
A few more hours. The sunning will take place. Be prepared.
Roy is
At a
going to
party.
wait.
Go ahead.
Roy is going to wait till everyone leaves, and he's going to talk with this guy.
Robbie whispers to Rava as they're leaving. Descending, departing. Are we
I don't know, I think
leaving,
they're
or
just
are they trying to
like-
kill us?
It's all these like super religious folk. They always have names for everything. Personally, I don't understand. I don't get it. Just keep our guard up.
There's a small chuckle from Alyxend when they hear that.
I have a crab
it's
leg in
really
my mouth
loud.
from still eating a crab leg.
You guys are like every word you guys are trying to say is like interrupted. Okay.
So, Crunch, I think
Roy.
Crunch.
Talk to this guy.
Yeah. Well, you see, I couldn't help to hear what you said to my friend about your previous party. There's pretty much no way you can at least stop me from going. But I would like to help a little. Do you have any way to describe your party?
I appreciate
promise
it.
you can keep an eye open for us.
Yes. There was a dwarven woman in our party named Paula. Yeah, elven woman named Vestrin. The man named Larkin.
Mhm.
I'll put him in chat really quick.
Can you repeat that again? I'm writing them. Thank you. Thanks. I can't promise anything. I'm pretty sure you know this. But I can
Yep.
at least assure you that I will give it a try. At least that way you can be a
I
little bit
appreciate it. Look, just be
less stressed
careful.
about it.
To
Well,
his drink and his sulking.
thanks for the warning. I will give a small nod. I will thank the bartender for the food, and I will go back to the party.
Welcome back.
Yes, I do believe that we will take your offer
Very
on
well.
that contract.
Negotiations are on the table, but we'll allow 50% discount on anything in the store. Provided that for each thing purchased, one item, anything, uniquely from loan, will be delivered here at a future date. Nothing the
find
same,
that
though,
agreeable.
of course. I want you to bring in
Until
10
turn to the
short
rest of
swords.
the party.
Something like that, from loan.
No.
And well, for each item, one unique item in our
Correct.
well, in the pool of which we will return with. Very well. I'm sure.
He'll put out his
that
hand to
could
handshake to
be
someone.
arranged. Please be Vidnov.
So I wasn't losing my mind, and I saw the
Vidnov will
bird
go to the
checking through
counter
my
and
stock
extend a
talking.
wing. Well,
What's
yes,
it?
of
Oh,
course.
sorry, okay.
Don't
Well,
squeeze, don't squeeze.
2 fingers out, thumb and a pointer.
And he'll quote unquote shake his pointer finger. And then he'll pull out 2 daggers and rest them on the counter.
Very well.
I would like
Both of
these
these
silver,
together, that'll be
please.
40 gold with your discount.
He pulls out a total of 19 and a half gold, and then kind of like turns. Would any of you be able to just 5 silver?
Here,
I need at least
Baba.
1.
If you're short a few coin,
I trust you guys to mark off everything.
slide.
Before you sacrifice your gold, I don't need weapons, so you can have at least 5 from me.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Hopefully, you'll never have to see.
Yeah. So
Correct.
yeah, I suppose that's a total of 20 gold for one of the daggers then.
Well, you're getting 1 dagger. You'll see. You'll pick it up.
Ah.
Go head to the back, and you'll hear forge being fired up. Go ahead and mark off the coins. And has anyone else purchased anything else?
See. Do I need any more containers?
It's a bunch of boxes. Bunch of boxes and like a dolly to carry
Yeah,
them
just a
around.
big old pile of containers. Just a
Let's have storage containers.
It's a crate full of sacks.
I suppose I should pick up a backpack at least.
Why do you need a
Just
backpack?
break your-
get some
just
rope and a
break your
chest and put it on
spine.
in fashion.
Oh,
Sorry, he
Yeah, I'll
would.
pick up a backpack and cartographer's tools if he has them.
Oh, yeah. 7.5.
Standard is
Off the top of
15,
your
so
head.
it would be like 7.5.
Are
Oh,
there
there
any
are.
loose
Few
parchment
Notes,
or
some
papers
logs.
on the counter?
He's marking down some things. Yes, there are.
Are there any that are blank?
Are you
I
trying
would like to
to
try
not
to
let him see?
take one that's blank. I was just gonna, like, while staring at him, slowly reach
You
out one of
want
my
the
feet
piece of paper.
and just start slowly taking it.
There you go.
Yes, just one. Yeah, so we'll take it and then, let's see. Yeah, I guess I would have a small
Yeah, it
inkwell
would be-
if I
it'd be
have
a unique kit for
calligrapher's supplies with me.
Few little tools.
Yeah, so I'll just pluck one of my own feathers
Amazing.
and
You a
start
scribe.
writing on the paper. That's one
Definitely a
word
look.
for it.
Bird, plug it. Right. And about this.
From the aisle over, Aravi shouts over, "Should we get you a pen so you don't, go bald?"
Oh no, they
In
return
that case,
quickly.
can I buy a few quills off of you?
Mm,
Not that quickly.
How many is a few?
What's
a
my
silver
limit?
per.
That's a dumb question. That's actually a lot of money for a quill. I'll take 2. How does that sound?
Hold on.
Some.
If you can hear that, I'm rolling a D100.
I think I'll just take 2.
The limit is 17.
Okay,
Yeah,
Google.
so
how
we'll
many
pluck
feathers does
2
a crow have?
decent
He
sizes.
seems happy with this per. He's
sized
inspecting
feathers.
the. So I know that that's temp art, but how would you describe like, sort of pattern?
So I believe when the full art's gonna come back, it's gonna be very similar to just an average-looking raven. So they'd be a raven black, more or less a slight
gonna
sheen of
believe this.
midnight blue within it.
Nice to have. All right, on cue. Abel will return. What are these for?
And Vidnov will be like, and now,
Magic feather.
and now you have a magic feather.
I'll go ahead and add a silver dagger. to
The
it.
dagger was mine. Yes.
Oh.
For the
Oh,
curious,
and-
crows have about 4,000 feathers.
And to add further flavor, these daggers are a bit of a cross between a tanto in shape, but they're styled similarly to feathers with the serrations.
Hmm. Okay.
So I have one silver and one normal dagger.
Is it safe? Do I have all the items I posed to you?
I believe I put them all on. I might have gotten
From before.
sidetracked half. Something's not on there. You just write it.
Yeah, I just have my. I just have
Well,
weapons.
you could
and
refer to
armor
the
on my thing.
Discord message from now. On there before next.
Yeah. Good old
The-
second spool of rope.
The dagger has the
it's the
same amount of
property.
damage, right? It just changes to silvered damage. Okay.
Hmm?
that is now added in my inventory.
See anything over there you like, Aravi?
Just the
Mark off the
backpack
gold for
and
that.
the cartographer's tools will work for me.
So, you said earlier that Roy has a bandolier of items, correct?
Yep.
Is that... Does that give way to what seems like an alchemist or artificer of sorts?
Yep.
I also have an alchemy kit on me.
I think
wow.
I also
Full
have an
kind of-
alchemist kit on me.
Two alchemists, one party. But Vidnov will kind of hop over. Did you make that bandolier yourself?
Oh no, this was a gift from an old friend from the academy, but it has been with me for a long time.
Ah, I see. I was curious if you had made it, if you'd be able to try to make me something, and it'll strike a little bit of a pose.
What do you have in mind?
Something to give me better pockets.
Can you repeat this card like cut?
Yeah, it said something to give me better pockets.
I have been working on something. I think we'll all be benefited by that, but I will need a couple of days. I'll get us covered.
Very well.
I would like to talk with the guy, as I would like to ask for some stuff. So, I wanted to ask how much will it
silver
cost
bolts,
me
let
to
me
have
check.
some silver bolts
Leave.
for my crossbow?
Same price for ammunition. Let me see. 10 pieces of ammunition for the price of a what? 20 gold pieces for 10 ammunition. 20 bolts. 10 bolts, sorry.
I'd like to do half for, 5 bolts for 10 silver,
Uh,
10 gold
Yeah,
pieces.
you can do both
because
of
I would
those
like to
things.
also buy a
5 for
shield,
10
if it's possible.
for the crossbow bolts.
Thank you.
Bolt. Alright, go ahead and mark off the gold. Just add the bolts to your inventory.
I think that ready. I think
believe so.
shield is 10 gold pieces, right?
Alright.
Yeah, then I'm done.
Very well.
Thank you.
Remember our contract, everyone. I pray for your safe return.
Sorry, this is a last minute. That one.
Alright. You done? Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I would also like pythons.
People always get rope and
Just got
stuff,
rope.
but always
Have someone,
forget the
like, hold on
pigeons
to
when
it.
climbing.
Ready to be there.
You kind of need
Yes.
True. You could be the
I've got
you
a
could be the
climb
python.
speed, so I can fix that.
them. Well, aren't you lucky?
Alright.
Yes, and I have a
2
flying
GP for
speed
the
as
pick.
long as I am not whole.
There's actually an
encumbered.
encumbrance tracker.
How much does
I
it
like-
take for you to be encumbered?
It actually should say at the bottom of your character sheet, it'll be a little bar. All right,
I
1
see
GP.
that. I thought that was a scroll
1
bar.
GP for the hammer.
Heck yeah.
Yes, I assume
Pretty
that
small.
my maximum weight that I carry is very small.
Mm-hmm. Gray bar.
Not in the. Not in standard equipment.
Might be called crowbar.
Another 2 GP for that. And it is 5 copper pieces per pit. Per python. Python, python.
Piton.
Very well.
I'll take 20 pitons for a gold then.
Again, yeah, everything you
I
love
will do
adventuring,
the
the adventure
same.
gear. Online, anything on there. To be clear, the
Mm-hmm.
what's it called? Contract only goes into play for I don't say big ticket items, anything of significance. Obviously, you're not bringing back something for every that you'd buy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, that.
I'm buying it for standard fare.
Oh
anyway.
no, I can pick up
Yeah.
pitons on the other island and return them.
Here, I found a
You'll
dark,
find
dark
otherworldly
piton.
pitons.
Yes.
I'd like
Oh.
to ask the shopkeep a question. If I bring you a different silver weapon, can you
Oh,
make
what do you mean? Like, can I melt it
coat
down
this
and
axe in
do it
silver?
for a cheaper price? Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Would have to be our make, our alloy. Yeah. Are you referring to one of those weapons that were purchased before? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Karps
goodbye.
gets an idea and he darts for the door. He's going after this. He's going after that sword he found in the beginning. Pull it out.
Perfect.
How much are cattle trops? Or caltrops?
Bag of 20 for a gold piece.
Caltrops in a sack to carry them in orbital bombardment.
Okay. Yeah, I'll grab
Anything
one
else
of
that you
those
want?
then. Bag of caltrops.
I believe I have
Oh,
all that
Karps
I'm
is-
looking for.
First at the door. Like to follow? Go ahead.
Where have they gone in a rush? Thank you.
Izo is the name.
And we will
Pray for your safe
with,
return.
I believe an item. Izo.
Thanks for the stuff. Hope we bring you back what you need.
That is one way to not
And
have to
if
pay
you don't come
anything.
back, we can just die.
To die.
Just die for him.
Let's see. And this battalion soldier that's just south of the target
Oh, it does not actually seem to be, no.
seems to be the Hawk member.
Yes.
Okay.
Quick question. Can you give me the shield and also subtract 5 of the bolts?
So you're right.
Because I only should have 5, not 10. Thank you.
Here you go. Alright, Karps, you excitedly run towards
Thank
the Sword and Stone. Welcome back, here for round 2. Of course.
I have a question. If I pull it,
The whole
do I
idea.
get to keep it?
These swords aren't cheap, you know.
Gotcha. So Karps is gonna pull out his conch shell. I'm gonna
Alright.
go hype myself up. I'm gonna use guidance by blowing into the conch shell.
Yeah.
So I just click it on my character sheet. The cantrip. Gotcha. Eh,
Let's go ahead and click the
that's.
pop up. Yeah.
I click.
Alright.
I click other formula.
So, hype yourself up. The athletics check from you. Oh. 13.
All right.
It is jammed in there way more than last time. It seems. Ooh. Well. A respectable attempt. I'm afraid you haven't gone much further than you did last time. That'll be 5 gold. He's happy with his money.
I give him the 5. Talk to the fish real quick. You think there's anything I can do to get this thing to get out?
I think you should ask
I've
around.
gone so deep, might as well go all the way.
Relation to further, my situation here. You do you.
Yeah, you right. You right.
Oh, yeah, you can hit F to turn your.
He's pondering like 2 different things now: sword and fish. Thank you. Wonder who knows about magically talking fish. The guy with the giant cross seemed like he knew about. No, he didn't. Maybe he knows about mystic
Karps walks back to
stuff.
you all, just talking to himself.
I walk back to everyone.
Or possibly to the fish on his back. Maybe both, you're not quite sure.
Are you taking that somewhere?
Huh? What?
The fish. It's Are you? Is that a friend of yours? Are you taking it somewhere?
Oh, this is from home. This is. It's just a fish. It's really just a fish.
How long have you been traveling?
Couple months. Not that long.
How is the fish not goop?
We've had this fish for so. I have this fish for so long. I don't even know. It's a very, very durable fish.
Okay.
The fish, you see the fish squirm.
Is that alive?
Yeah. Aren't we all alive?
I mean, yes, but don't fish need to be in water to live?
It's a really, really
Don't trust
cool
any
fish.
of these little weird companions everyone has.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, but I'm the one.
Says the weird companion. Yes, you are.
So what? No, what?
With his note in hand, Vidnov's gonna fly over towards the targets
Go
that
ahead and make a
was
perception
mentioned.
check. I'll list it. All right. fly a bit closer to the targets and sort of investigate the area. He'll make eye contact with the man hiding behind the tree. Once you guys make eye contact, he'll pop out. Inquisitive creature. What are you? He doesn't seem like he's talking to you. He seems like he's talking to himself, not really expecting an actual voice to come out. Another hawk. Hold on.
Ah, hail. Another hawk, I
You're a
assume.
member of the faction. Amazing. And you're a certified member
Yes, from
yourself.
Kresk.
Huh. They would.
Would they have a sigil?
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, I've never met a hawk member
He'll
like
root
you.
around in his feathers to
I'm over
pull
here
it out.
on a request of the guild. There's a bit of a recruitment process. Got a lot of adventurers coming through. A lot get cold feet and turn back. I'm supposed to recruit those that have shown potential but don't end up going alone. Or even those that do.
Ah, I see. We were told by the church here
Yep.
that you were
Took
doing
it upon
some
myself
things
to get
with
into the
archery.
festive mood. Set up a bit of a contest here. If you can outshoot me, then, well, I have a bit of a prize of a few silvered arrows I procured.
Yes, they did mention that. Now, I can't shoot a bow, but if I can,
That is
I
a
would like
perfectly
to
fine
practice
stand-in.
throwing my dagger. And he will offer the foot that's holding the paper towards him. And if you wouldn't mind,
Of
possibly
course.
getting this
I'll be
letter
back
back
there just
to
in a
my
few
family.
days, as a matter of fact. This doesn't seem to be addressed to
Oh, perfect.
fellow birds. Is your situation some sort of affliction?
Of a sorts. They in Wolf Den is where they're
Of course.
currently living, so if you can just assist in getting the papers
I can
there.
do that for you for sure.
Give them a little update that I've arrived.
He'll gesture over at the target.
Many thanks, friend.
Pull out his bow and come step over here. Could be a little closer, of course, considering you're throwing a dagger. But I'll play from back here.
Yeah, he'll pull out a
He's gonna go
dagger.
stand 30 feet away. You can always measure with control.
Do is that 10 feet? Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be 10 feet away and pull out the silvered dagger, both to give himself practice with it
Alright.
and
He'll take
attempt.
his shot first. He'll
at
pull the
his
longbow
game.
back and fire at the target right in front of him. Alright. Ignoring the damage, because the hit's actually what matters here. He seems taken aback by himself as he just strikes out the outer border of the target. It's barely actually hitting the red. God damn it. Oh.
Let's see.
You're targeting yourself, but easily, Vidnov, you toss the dagger and it hits the bullseye.
Oh, oh well. That's
So
okay.
goddamn.
Better than I thought it would be. And he'll toss another one of his other daggers to it.
Yep, dagger after dagger, just most in the
I
bullseye,
suppose
some
I've
off
still
the
got
side.
it.
Easily enough. Damn, you really are a Hawk member. Suppose I owe you these. Go ahead and hand you 5 silvered arrows.
Okay. I was worried that it was going
That's
to be
a
like
good point.
20. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to carry this.
They are arrows.
Are they arrows or
So
crossbow
they weigh
bolts?
very little.
Okay. Then after I put the daggers back into my feathers, I'll give a nod and take them in my little talons as I'm flying.
We can find use for them.
Well, this will be very
I'll
useful.
get this letter to your
Thank
family
you.
soon. Should be there by in a week or so. He'll go, and as you step off,
Many
he'll go and
thanks,
pick up his
friend.
arrow. He'll be like, oh, that's the last of a fucking bird. Instead of hiding like he was
Yeah,
before,
he'll
you see he's
fly
now
back.
actually frustrated and he's practicing more shots.
Do any of the party members have an actual bow that's visible?
I have a short bow hanging on my back.
Okay. Then I'll come over to you and kind of gesture with the arrows. Well, got us 5 more arrows.
Oh, great. And now if I can't punch a werewolf, I can shoot him.
Yes, anything that will help us survive is useful in my eyes.
Alright, we'll go ahead and give him the
Thank you.
arrows.
Yes,
You
the
just
bird
scratch with
could
them.
throw them, but
you know, maybe you could
it's
like
probably best to put them in a bow.
on your calendar or something.
I was initially thinking of trying to do the archery
Seems like we
contest
did
by
work
just
out a lot
throwing
better.
arrows at it.
Silver.
That
Yeah.
sounds hilarious.
Oh. Okay. Well. Anything else the party would like to do? It's getting later in the evening. Sun's starting to go down. Anything left?
I think I've done all that Vidnov would want to do.
I think I'm done with what I would like to do as well. Yeah. I don't think Alyxend would want to.
Time for departure.
I don't think. Oh. Yeah, I think we're good to go.
It's down here. Southern Gate, flanked by Father Claude. You guys will be met. You guys will meet the Guardians of Silverbank, 2 fully fledged Gurren Knights, that day and night defend the southern side of the coast in case of a attack from lone. Gurren Knights, if you don't know, are not the highest, but basically the highest like a normal person can achieve in rank in church and battalion combined. It's time then. There's no turning back. Are you all certain you would like to go? Very well.
Ready and waiting.
Okay.
Give a solemn
Ready?
nod.
Party will hop on the boat. The initial part of the ride is rather simple, and the skies are clear. You guys get further along, past the point where be considered on Gurren waters. Things begin to heat up a little. Rain, nothing severe. Horrible. You see further along, though, fog of the shores of Lone. At a certain point, Ship stops. You are made aware the rest of the journey will be made by a small boat that you will all depart from. I'll make it to the shore. You are given a scroll. Should you succeed in your mission, or use the boat to get out as far as to sea as you can, cast a spell on the scroll. Essentially a flare. At that point, a patrolling Gurren ship will come and pick you up. But you guys all get put onto this small boat, only fit for about 4 people. You are sent off into the water towards Lone. As described earlier, the ship seems to have some sort of sigils written on the side of it. Golden runes and markings etched onto the side. Gives you some semblance of safety. See how long that lasts. You guys go further along. It's dark and stormy. The rain picks up and it becomes harder to hear each other. Yeah, I imagine.
Rava has his claws dug
How's
deep
Vidnov
into the
handling?
wood of the boat. Does not like water in this sense.
Well, it looks like that this is a pretty basic
Yeah.
rowboat, so he's probably huddled underneath one of the boards so he doesn't get flown out.
Oh, you can actually, yeah.
Latch
you have the
myself to
rope and-
something.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
See, it's already coming in handy.
Easily
guys.
enough, you're able to latch yourself to the boat. Right around something
Right off the
strong.
bat.
Things begin to pick up. You guys turn around and realize that you can no longer see past the thick hood of fog that you are in. And only now you realize how deep within it you actually are. Waves begin to pick up. For a moment, you're unable to hold on. But the ship steadies. Then boom! A massive wave hits. I want everyone to make a strength saving throw. Alyxend, you have advantage on this. I will.
Wait.
I'll take that one.
You can click on the
That's fine.
I just pressed the button. Let's roll again.
Mhm.
Okie dokie.
Give me a second. I need to read something.
Actually, Alyxend, go ahead and hit again. Go ahead and hit again, because you have advantage anyway.
I have something prepared for this.
Button. There we go.
I should.
Alright.
I'm going to spend 1 charge from my armor of magical strength to roll again. No, wait.
Okay.
Oh no, I
That's a
add
lot
a
better than
plus
3,
4 to
though.
that one.
So it'll be a 7.
I
then.
add my intelligence modifier.
Alright, and how does that look as you're getting thrown about in the boat?
Yeah. I imagine that the waves are starting to get like wilder, and I'm about to jump out of the boat, but I grasp myself from the seat that I'm at, and for some reason my armor gets like heavier and makes me stay where I'm
Alright.
seated.
Thrown around,
just
Rava.
basically
You
jumping
find
from
yourself
the
nearly thrown
force
off the
of
boat,
waves.
holding on just by one of the ends. Or Ravi, rather. Rava will yell at... Make another strength saving throw.
I do my best as you scramble back inside.
15's enough. You pull yourself right back onto the boat. Things pick up further. Look around you and notice that it's not just dark fog. You see hints of purple. As the lightning strikes, you see it comes through. Storm picks up even further. And you notice something approaching. A wild hex of a massive stormy ball of purple lightning, thunder. What can only be described as a living storm moves towards you. Already in the deep fog, yet you could somehow still see it. Get everyone to make another strength saving throw. Oh, yes, you still have advantage.
Do I still have advantage?
Oh. This time the waves
Fuck
ever
no.
more violent. Karps,
I'm glad I have
You still
advantage.
have
you're
advantage.
thrown off the boat just barely hanging on by a thread. Vidnov, while you remain on the boat, you're knocked unconscious. The moment you hit the water, you're woken up again and realize your feathers are soaked thoroughly. Alyxend, Aravi, you guys barely managed to hang onto the boat. You notice that your companions have either fallen or falling.
Awesome.
Let's see. I will toss a length of my other rope to Vidnov. This is why you get a second coil of rope, boys.
Yeah.
I'll use all three
Alright.
of my
you
appendages
make
that I can actually grasp things
rolls,
with to
Vidnov.
try to grab it.
Alright, you grab onto the rope, though you're, I imagine Alyxend will drag you in, yet you are still soaked and being
And I'll
coughing
reach.
up water. Probably will not be able to fly for a minute. Yes.
And I've got both talons and my beak holding onto it.
I dismiss Rava, and I reach out for Karps.
I did not I did not expect to take a shower today.
I mean, you should take a shower every day.
Oh!
Yeah, but not like this.
But point
Reach out
taken.
for Aravi's hand. Your grip slips as another lightning strike hits, very close nearby into the water. You go tumbling out. At the same time, another massive wave hits. Need the party to make strength saving throws.
Button.
Ooh. Alright.
Yeah,
You can roll
can
again,
go.
Alyxend.
Ooh,
Just
guys,
'cause.
come on.
Yeah.
As a burb, my strength is terrible.
Imagine.
That might matter.
None of us are strong boys.
Alright.
Hey, improved by 1.
Karps, you're a Triton. You're not a stranger to environments like this. You gather yourself and your strength and you simply dive back onto the boat, grabbing on. Side. Alyxend, you hold on as you watch the rest of the crew barely holding on. As Roy, Vidnov, and Aravi are all grasping onto the boat. A thread.
Perhaps it is best to seek refuge inside this chest.
So it opens up a just a coffin.
And I'll.
Opens up an Iron Maiden.
I just. I
Chest
mean, the
cavity
chest I
opens
have
up.
is coffin-like, but Well, sarcophagus-like, really. Perhaps you should get into this so you don't get thrown. Vidnov.
All right. Well, with Alyxend helping
Okay.
with the 19,
Yeah,
they can
I'll try
get
to
you into
climb
the
in.
box, clamp you shut in there. So long as Alyxend remains on the boat, or the chest does, I guess, if you're not holding it, should be fine.
Now, there's not spikes on the inside
Yeah,
of this
you're gonna
chest,
get
right?
you are going to get
There are
thrown
20
around. It's not.
kittens, a shovel, a pickaxe.
I'm gonna hold on to
grand
whatever the
idea.
heaviest object is inside of the chest, so that way it doesn't slam against me.
Pickaxe, I'd imagine.
Let's see, that would be
The pickaxe.
Probably
you
the
holding that with
pickaxe
you,
if
or is
it's
it just on the
actually in
boat?
there.
a pickaxe or a crowbar, either or.
All right. Okay.
The chest is lashed to me.
Uh,
I'm very heavy. With all my gear, I'm 208.2
anything-
pounds.
At this point, you're all anticipating it. You feel another
It's not
massive
an
wave
actual
coming.
body. Jesus.
Before anything, I want to make a perception check. Oop. You're in a box, unfortunately, but no.
Ooh, I love perception.
Yeah.
Roy, you're busy holding on for dear life. The rest of you, however,
Oh.
swear
Roy's
through the
distracted.
fog. Two things.
Makes sense.
One, a laugh, ever faint, but you swear you hear it. And right as that piques your interest, you look further towards Lone and realize that you might just see a shore. At the same time, you guys feel another massive wave coming. Is there anything you would like to do in preparation?
If I can scramble back onto the boat, I'm gonna do that, and then wrap myself as quickly as possible in Alyxend's rope.
Athletics
Hey.
checks, gentlemen.
Rope? Rope is good.
Ooh. Ravi, you're able to successfully get wrapped around the rope. Hanging on tight. Karps, you notice Roy is slipping again as he tries to reach out desperately. Alright,
I want to go.
Roy, he's
help
helping
him.
you out. You can
I'm
get a
gonna
roll
help
one more
him.
time. Much better. Karps, you guys dive back and you pull. Karps, you dive back holding Roy and you guys pull him in.
Nice.
Are you guys all wrapping yourselves around the rope?
Thanks.
God's bless that goddamn rope, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are all wrapped up.
That's why I've got two of them.
The thunderous cloud that you guys have found yourself in brightens. Bright hexing purple. You feel the boat get rocked, not by a wave, but by whatever force it's emitting. Whatever force this storm is emitting. The golden runes on the side of the boat will shine. You'll find yourselves unhurt. Whatever that was an attack. Dark nature. The boat's protecting you guys from it. The sigils can protect you from those, the waves themselves. As this foreign dark attack hits you, so does the wave, and it topples the boat over.
Oh, I'm sinking.
It's cool.
Who has the highest constitution? Actually, wait. I guess it wouldn't actually matter. Down to something else. Alyxend. Lost unconscious. You've lost consciousness briefly. Conscious, but after some time, wake up. Notice that you're on solid ground.
I will pull myself up. Before yeah, they sort of rise, and as they do, not that anyone else can see, but water pours from every crack and crevice in their armor.
You look around, you notice that
They
you're
look
holding
desperately around for the urn they carried with them above all
your
else.
unconscious state perfectly. Nature itself, you're holding onto that urn.
They with a hollow sigh, they rest it in
All right.
ground, and they attempt to rouse everyone from unconsciousness.
You guys are brought awake, most of you, coughing up water. Feeling excellent. So, I believe it is Vidnov and Roy.
I take the
You guys can't see
action
walking
to
anything.
resummon Rava.
What the hell happened?
Rise, friends.
I don't know. Again.
Lots of water.
We were
Trust me.
cast below for a time, but we yet live.
It's a wise move to
I
unsummon.
hope all of you can
Maybe you're not so dumb
observe
after
just
all.
fine.
I'm in need of help. I can't see shit. If you're able to see, he's kind of not exactly freaking out, but trying to extend his arms and trying to touch something.
Vidnov,
Vidnov,
you are
you
not.
all right in there?
Answer's
Open
no.
box.
Terms. He is the saddest looking creature I've ever seen in your life. He is wet, he is, I'll say beaten, but he's been thrown around. He looks like an abused pet, and it's really a sad sight.
I pat.
Yeah, sorry guys.
You open the box and there's just 10
No, it's
pittons
dark,
sticking
but-
out of a raven.
Oh god.
Roy
Can
bumps
everyone
right in your back.
else, see all right? Or I heard a voice. Was it you, Roy?
Oh.
Ah,
Sorry.
there you are.
I can see everything. Everything's simply black.
Shift
I can
scroll
see just
wheel.
fine.
Good.
If I could figure out how to rotate myself back to my feet.
I reach to Vidnov, and I will, for the time being, use button.
Oh, that. Okay.
Button.
That's a button.
It grants
To
you
Vidnov?
Eyes of Night. You have Dark
Alright.
Vision 300 for an hour.
Vidnov, you,
To Vidnov.
yeah, it's a bit crazy.
He blinks very quickly for a moment. Oh, somebody turned lights on.
It is unfortunately a temporary blessing, but hopefully that'll be enough to get us to a safer place.
Well, I can utilize it very
yes,
well.
you're
and,
actually, you're very sad.
is he's still soaked?
Mhm.
Okay.
Seawater going everywhere.
Begin shaking off all the water as long as it takes.
Roy, you are still
Right, I
unfortunately in a sea of black.
Yeah, I'm holding from Alex's back, and I'm just
Okay.
clinging for dear life.
Ah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll spend a first level spell slot. I'll give it to Roy as well.
Thanks.
It'll only be a few minutes.
Let me know once I've dried off enough to fly.
Can everyone see out of character?
Oh my god. Thanks.
Oh, there is. It's
Yeah.
in this
Yes.
spell book. Where it says first level to the right.
I can't seem to find it.
Yeah. Of course, probably the
there
first
it
thing
is.
you guys take notice of is the ruined boat. The golden sigils, now a sort of dark bronze color. There's a sort of sizzling sound. It seems like the sigils that have been drawn on the sides of the boat have well been used.
Well, it got us this far at least.
Move.
Getting back
quickly
might
now.
be a challenge, though.
Yeah.
Vidnov will take to the sky to try to scout out the surroundings.
Take the sky. Despite the very large view with dark vision, there is a thick fog. Not so bad over here, but deeper into Lone it seems that it gets only thicker. You just barely make out the shore further. You are not very close to the shore. You are from what you could tell, you are at least like an hour's walk away from it. Whatever storm, it took you guys far. That boat went through a lot. In fact, looking further, you notice that there's a tree very close to where you guys are that it seems like the boat crashed into before landing. You guys were thrown across the tree line. Why?
What's the point button? Why? There we go.
I don't want to alarm anyone, but it's about a 50-minute flight that I would take from here to the shore.
Quite the distance. Alyxend doesn't seem to think
Oh, that was
anything
a
of it.
lot of water.
Still.
Are there any structures that I can see, or is
Perception
it
check.
just fog? Okay. And I did notice there's differences between my proficiencies and
Oh, what are you gonna change?
expertise between the D&D sheet and the Foundry sheet.
What do you need me to change? It's just a quick change.
Say again?
Oops. I don't need to do that.
Let's see. Arcana is proficient, Deception proficient, Insight was proficient, Investigation proficient, Perception and Stealth were expertise. And then Performance, Sleight of Hand, and Survival were also proficient.
Or
Know
I think I
that
missed.
Insight and Survival were from the Hawk faction stuff.
Persuasion, did you say? Okay.
Yeah.
I fixed that. Okay.
No,
So that roll would then
Perception
be
was expertise. I think that's
looking at
everything.
towards the shore. Despite that being the view where you have, there's less
Okay.
fog technically. You do not see much in that direction. Further into Lone, through the fog, you swear you see some sort of structure. You see a bit of a hint of light. Basically, all you see. A bit of a walk. Not even a bit of a walk, just a few minutes and deeper into the Lone. You do notice is that this region that you're in is heavily forested, past this clearing that you guys are in. There seems to be a path going in that direction, and it seems to have been torn down. Trees knocked over, like that. Path trampled. There's a path through the forest, but this would be like it was forced through.
Hmm. Okay. Then I'll swing back down to the rest. Well, it seems that the closest thing that resembles anything of civilization is that direction. And I'll gesture a wing towards where I saw the light and structure.
That seems as good enough a direction as any.
A light in the darkness? Salvation or a trap? I suppose we shall have to find out.
Great.
Regardless, we will need to find shelter eventually. Unless you guys brought tents.
My faith protects me from such things.
I wish I could say the same, but I think that Elator likes us to take things as they come.
Then proceed we shall, lest we succumb to the elements before anything else.
Very well.
Along the path, you said?
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess I'll fly a couple of feet ahead.
Very well.
March ever onwards. Hold on.
Oh, cool.
I didn't need to spend my spell slot because I can give it to 3 creatures, not 1 creature.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
So, Roy could have it, and Aravi, why not? You also have 300 feet dark vision now.
How high up are you flying, Vidnov?
Sorry,
I can
Karps.
see far.
Cat has
Roughly.
superior
That's fine.
night vision.
Oh,
10 feet. Yeah, I'll dip up every once in a while to make sure that we're still going the correct direction. But I'll normally be flying like right next to the group.
Let's venture for just a few
Love the
minutes
music choice.
before the path really begins to surround you. I will say at this point, this is a little bit leading. You guys are free to roll checks at any time if you'd like information about the region, like to familiarize yourself with history that your character would know. If you'd like to suss things out based on your environment, anytime just ask. But anyway. The fog is relatively thick here. Find yourself only able to see a certain distance ahead of you despite the blessing of twilight Alyxend has blessed you with. Path continues. Seemingly trampled forest. Marks on the ground. Many thousands of footsteps. Toppled over trees. Not cut, but fallen over. Of course.
I would like to make a few checks while we're walking. A survival check to see what our general surroundings may have encountered recently, especially after that description. Perception check to see what I can actually see.
I would like to investigate the path to see if there's any sort of indication of animals.
You guys
or
are all free to
wildlife.
roll.
Religion, perhaps,
way-
on the horrors that may lurk here.
The way I DM, you
like
guys
to
are free
roll-
to roll literally
yeah,
any
like to
kind
roll
of check
Arcana
for
to see
anything. You guys
any
can just pick yourself.
kind of
I don't have to
magic
like
is in
prompt
the
you.
place.
Though of course some things are going to be better than others for. I'll go from the top. Obvious survival check, 11 surrounding region. Investigating a little bit further. The trees, they were not cut, they were not like picked up, they're not forced by like some massive creature. It looks literally like they were like forced apart and then knocked over. The path is trampled with thousands of footsteps of different sizes. Whatever this was not one creature. Was there any other specific information you wanted to glean?
I'll share that with the group as a whole.
As you look, many of the some of the footsteps
Any
seem old.
recent activity.
However, you
would be on the
investigate
last
further.
bit.
Some of them absolutely seem new.
Oh. Well, my new friends, there was a lot of action here some time ago, and then some more.
Was that perception check part of that,
recently.
or was that?
Many footprints, armies worth.
Hmm.
Can I tell which direction they're going?
Was it
The
other thing you
perception
said,
check was
sorry?
just what I see currently around, so it could be rolled into that, or it could be something else.
Both actually.
Which
Both
direction?
the way you came and the way you're
they were
going.
going, or did they have a unified direction? Well, I'll help out.
Alyxend, your religion check for 11 for what are you looking for?
Strange indeed. See if I can
Tapping on
recognize the
your innate
what horrors
senses,
might be in this
your
place.
possible connection with this place, and the history that you know. 11, you would know of the Legion, a roaming group of thousands, tens of thousands of undead that travel and trample the forests alone. Sounds like something that they are nowhere to be found. Weird, considering you'd imagine a bunch of shambling undead, there would be some sort of remains. Sure.
Considering the march of thousands, perhaps this is the Legion's work. Though, there ought to be more trace of them. This is
Vidnov.
clean by comparison.
Yes, I was looking more specifically towards the path for indications of creatures, wildlife,
Humanoid, almost
whatever the tracks may
exclusively.
be through this
Noticed
path.
a few traces of larger, still humanoid, still seemingly bipedal. Definitely larger. Nothing beyond that. Do you travel much further ahead? This?
I do assume that we'd be slowly moving forward at a steady pace that we can
just so
still
you know,
keep
also, Vidnov,
very wary of our
this is
surroundings.
around the point where you swear you saw light. Be a little bit to the
But
south.
I'll note that. Okay. We should be getting close to where I saw that light earlier. And it does seem that almost all of these tracks are humanoids. Some of them giant-like almost.
Let's just stay close to
And
each
Roy.
other in case anything happens.
Your Arcana, what did you like to ascertain?
Agreed.
Basically, I'm aware that there are some places with high levels of magic that can be like
Very
messing up with
attuned
the
to
place.
things like that.
I'm trying to see if there's something
Yo.
like that over here.
And you really do not notice particularly strong arcane spark in the area, spark of divinity at all. All you notice in particular is just the ever-present fog that all doesn't have a specific scent, it's just constantly in and out of your lungs. You can only assume that it has some sort of magical. There does not seem to be any latent energy area or in the surrounding. Ready to move on ahead? Seems that Vidnov is leading the pack, scouting ahead a little bit.
Alyxend will bring up the rear. Not least because they march slowly anyway.
Spooky sense?
I'm gonna use my spooky sense. Yeah, my spooky sense. My divine sense.
Action, you open your awareness to
Well,
detect such
spook.
forces. This turn, you to location of any celestial,
that was
fiend,
cool.
or undead within 60 feet.
Mhm.
Karps. Right as you cast it, you feel a single minor undead presence. Then a moment later, it's gone.
Yep.
Your southwest.
I quietly call everyone to me and say, I feel some sort of presence, undead presence, and I just point in the southwest
Studious
direction.
enough to not carry around a torch and attract
Careful
attention to
flying
yourself.
around there, Vidnov.
You guys, now while having dark vision, notice that the direction that Karps is referring to seems to be an individual crouched down. Yeah.
Could I fly higher to
I
get
believe you
an
could right-click your
actual line
token.
of
It should
sight?
say like 10. You could change that and hit enter to change your flying height if you'd like. I'm gonna use
Then I'll do that. Yes. I'll go as far as
Yeah,
30
enter you.
feet to try to get a clearer.
In quiet, having stealth experience with absolutely no light.
Try to get a clear
simply
line
being
of
a bird in
sight
the night, you
directly
attract
on it.
0 attention. Scout ahead. Figure is dressed. You
Now,
almost imagine
what
him to
can
be
I
undead.
discern about the figure?
In fact, you're not sure if he's even. You think he might be. He is seeming to be devouring a corpse below him. Just hear the ravenous sounds of gluttony. So he just eats. This corpse seems older.
Okay. Does this corpse seem fresher or older? Okay. Then, as best as I can, while using my wings to fly, I will try to gesture for the others to simply avoid being directly next to it.
I think the party's
I don't know if you
looking
want
out
like a
for you.
performance
They're
check
still
on
within your
that
range,
to make it clear.
line of sight. You guys get the idea.
Okay. Yeah, Vidnov more or less gestures to kind of like move around the area, so you're not getting too close to these sounds
Now,
of
you notice this man
chomping
stop,
down.
catch his breath, drag the half-eaten body, or begin to drag the half-eaten body away very slowly.
I'll simply watch until he leaves my sight.
Aravi will let out a low hoot as he notices a building to his south.
Oh.
Alright, that was some thing that was eating an old corpse, but it left to the west.
Foundry working for you guys?
First
Okay, there you go.
denizen of the country, huh?
Did a full restart
Seems
for
like we
me.
found that source of light just to the south.
Freaky?
Mhm.
Okay.
Nice.
And the stream view is
Yeah, we're still able to move and everything.
now it's paused.
Second. Alright. You guys do notice the first semblance of actual civilization. Structure below you. Southeast.
I will swoop down towards it while listening out carefully. Do I hear any sounds from within?
Be the grovelings of some sort of creature.
I'll kind of fly back. There's something within, kind of grumbling. I can't make out what it's saying though.
If there is a presence here, then, well, we should probably do the polite thing.
Alright, I'm gonna start flying
Yes,
around
all
the
the windows
building
are
to try
not
to
boarded up,
see if
but
there's a
there
window
are
I can
shelves
peek
and
in.
drawers and other random things blocking every window. There are 3 windows around the place. They're all blocked like those. You notice that one down there, actually, Vidnov, is slightly... The thing blocking it is slightly moved by the door. It actually lets out a little bit of sight into the building. It'd just be a dilapidated shack. See an old man pass by. Door is closed.
Is the door currently open? Okay. There's an old man inside, it seems. Or at least from the glimpse I caught.
I see. Well, between one set of old bones and another, perhaps they might be able to tell us something about this place.
It's probably best to ask before we just kill him.
Oh, you
Knock, knock, knock.
response.
Hello? Does anyone still live within these walls?
No response.
I'll try the same in Undercommon. Either unresponsive or scared. Our intention is not to cause harm to you. We seek shelter
Make a
or
persuasion check.
perhaps even knowledge of the local area. Ta-dang.
You won't. I won't. You won't take me. I won't let you.
It is not my intention to take you. Please, could you tell
Woods.
us about this place?
The woods.
The woods
There.
around your home.
No, stay out of the woods. Stay out of the woods. This is the Ghast Wood.
What lurks within?
Creatures that feed. They only lurk in the
The
forest.
Ghast Woods.
They're monsters.
I see. What is the nature of these creatures?
Listen to
Monsters that
listen
lurk
to your,
in the woods.
to your nose. If you smell them, it's too late. I suppose not.
That's not very helpful.
Still, at least we know they emit a strong
Aravi.
odor.
You swear as you sort of investigate the tree line, get a little bit deeper into the. You smell something. Something different. Just a brief whiff. Sure.
Perception check?
And I'm looking back towards where we saw that figure drag
nothing.
the corpse away.
Perception check.
Trying to
has a
make
few
sure
things. You
that
can tell it's coming
nothing's
from
wandering this way.
Sort of where you at? Coming from further deeper into this little patch of wood. You also notice that it is. After you smell it, you start to feel sick to your stomach for a second. Just the whiff that you get.
Is it-
You're just testing it or using it on yourself.
I'd use that before.
Well,
Hmm.
I
What?
said it was unhelpful. But
Get
I think
in!
I just caught
Get in!
something back there.
You'll hear him fiddle with the
Hey,
lock,
stay out of
just and then the door will fly open. Come in.
Actually, I'll wait till everyone else enters.
A raven will fly over his head through the.
This man will just. He will just look confused that you're even in here. How? Why are you all here? Who let you in? Who are you?
I
Are you stalkers?
suppose in a roundabout way we,
Are you stalkers here
with
to take
assistance,
me?
get ourselves in. As I said before,
You'll see he'll
I
quickly
have
just run
no
up here and just he's
intention
grabbing
of
his head.
taking you.
He'll mix something in the bowl, smash it down, and quickly eat it. Ugh. Yes.
Could I do an Arcana or Perception check on what
Either one.
what specifically he's working with?
Yes. You're using like a
Here's my toolkit.
Which
Or my knowledge of alchemy.
of which? Sorry, of which two?
which role would you prefer?
I'd say nature would probably be better for this.
I thought maybe Arcana
alchemist
or
supplies
Perception,
would
maybe
also-
possibly Nature. Okay.
I would say intelligence.
Hmm.
Nope.
What
It'll be a
linked
plus
attribute
two.
for alchemist supplies?
Do you want
Intelligence.
that?
Yep. Fuck if I know.
Oh yeah, we got all the the alchemist
I'd
party.
like to
I
help
guess
with
I'll
that.
make the roll. I also have alchemy proficiency.
Just go ahead and do it. As far as you guys, you guys, Vidnov and Alex, some sort of. I will say you guys all notice that it does appear to calm him down the moment he eats it.
How do I roll a tool proficiency?
You go to the tool in your inventory. At the bottom, it says use tool,
Okay.
and then it'll bring up a dialogue.
Here it is.
Mine should be at 16.
Aravi, from working with things over from determine that these it seems to just be some sort of plants that are not foreign to where you're from. seems that based on the reaction he had, it was some sort of numbing agent. Roy, you would know further that it is in fact a combination of natural numbing agents and painkillers. He was just crushed down. You're also able to identify which things in the table he actually put in. Recreate that yourself. Not ingredients you would recognize, though. There were more like you.
Okay.
Oh. 2, 3.
There was at least one more party that came before us, yeah.
It- When was the last time you
Days ago.
saw the party? The ones before us.
See him just holding his forehead. Only 3. We're
How
not fit.
many
They were
did they
not fit
number?
for the ones. The stalkers got them.
That's
Stalkers or someone else. One by one, they were taken. Oh. They went further down the path. One by one, I felt it.
Taken
She
from
told me.
here?
She showed me what happened to them. He'll waddle around a little bit. He'll grab a stick and poke open a hatch in the roof. Just a small little viewing hatch. And he'll point up at the moon. She told me. I'm an augur. I was.
Does the moon speak with you?
She tells me. He gestures for you to back up, Roy. Aravi.
Ah.
You'll notice that the light from the moon will shine down into this crystal. I remember now. I can help you all. I can ask her what you want me to.
Well, those 3 that were
crushed
taken
down.
by the stalkers. Do you think they
He'll realize something, he'll go to the table and he'll look desperately for something. He doesn't find it, he looks under the table. Go to the shelf and look, and he looks very frantic about this. Go to the other room, in his boxes that are basically just have nothing. A tiny bit of food provisions. I don't have it. Find me. This. He'll go and he'll grab just a really dirty piece of paper. Scribble down what looks like a small little plant. I need this. You bring me this and I can help you. Moon sprout. Across the river to the south.
Sprout.
Just here.
Where,
Home's
pray
built right
tell,
up-
is it
right on the
best
shore of it.
found?
Well, we haven't had a
I believe
fair
further
fight
along
since
the
we got
path.
here. Might as well find
Then across the
moon
lake,
sprout
or across the
and
river.
take care of several local
There's a patch of
creatures
it. I
all
would go
around
there,
it.
but I can't. I won't step out. Not again. Despite the picture,
Very well.
yeah, that's just the
Does-
picture.
does this
Except
man
you
have
do
a
see
rat on
several
his
rats
shoulder?
going around here. Imagine that picture as like a snapshot.
Or is
of
that just the picture?
At one point, a rat just jumped on his shoulder and started like mindlessly nibbling on him. He just kind of didn't really even take mind to it. Okay.
I think that might be a ferret.
Okay.
I
I want to try to pick
Actually,
up a rat.
yeah,
then.
as you go to grab a rat, he'll go, no, no.
No, that's his food source. You can't take those.
I can take one.
Make a persuasion check.
What? Simply one won't hurt.
No, we'll snatch it out of your talons. We'll go and we'll put it in a little box and put
Aw.
a thing on top of it. Sorry, little one. We'll begin to cook the rat.
For whatever reason,
Mm,
oh,
I'm putting it down
for
again.
whatever reason, I was imagining him just immediately taking it from my
He does have
talons
the
just
decency
to
to
take a
cook it.
bite
He
out.
does not have the
Oh
wit
god.
to cook it well.
Right. That's how you
Just
get the
a
freshest,
charred
you
bit in the
know,
box.
freshest meat.
Yeah, easily enough done. There's a lot here,
While he's
luckily.
cooking that one, I'm gonna grab another.
Oh,
So I pick up a rat
doesn't like
and
it.
go on top of this bookshelf and
Good
just
food.
more or less just start playing with the rat.
It's not a fan. Well,
Really? Who would have figured?
And then
skitters
I
off.
want to drop it on the top of the crystal, like gently
boy,
drop
I
it on
would
the top of the
say
crystal. See if it does anything.
This crystal just seems to be
Hmm.
spellcasting focus / a component in a ritual spell. Equivalent to a crystal ball. Wizard might use to cast spells out of.
Oh.
Hmm?
Could I make an Arcana to try to identify the specifics of it?
Big. Yeah.
Cool.
A bit between the crystal and also more so just the markings around of prior rituals. Seems that this is a. You would know that there are individuals sort of mostly heretical type of magic commune with the moon. Certainly seems like precisely what that is. Doesn't seem to be made of anything special. Made of very minorly enchanted stones, stuff that any crystal would be made of. It seems to be specifically attuned for these kind of spells, though. I didn't be able to amplify them, or potentially let someone who isn't quite proficient with that kind of spell casting, something like that.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yes.
Are these bookshelves against
Fortunately, they're
doors?
just the shelves. There are a few things, burned books.
Do they
some of
have
the
any
covers
books on
eaten
them, or are they
partially,
just the shelves?
ground, but nothing of actual significance. He's trying out here.
Gotta get that fiber.
You guys have found a place. Arguable whether or not this is a safe place to rest is up to you guys.
Seems like the best option at the moment.
So we want to venture out now and find his flower before returning to rest. It might be a good place to stop.
Indeed.
Great.
If we find it, we can perhaps look for those that came before us, or maybe get a lead on the artifacts that we have been asked to acquire.
Yes, it would seem that would be a good idea.
I think it is resolved then. If we are to head out, we shouldn't dally for too long, lest the blessing wear off sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah,
hatch
it's about like
to let
it's
the
about
moon
perfect size for
in
that actually.
still open? Is it big enough for me to fit through it?
It's a,
Cool. I'm gonna fly through it.
despite the fog, the moon still shines almost fully through even the thick fog. You could still see it in the sky.
Hmm.
Drag it.
We're
right
gonna
up.
fly above the structure and try to look in the direction he
You
was
do in
referring
fact
to.
see a lake. With your dark vision, you can't quite make out what the issue is with it, but that does not look like normal water. It's nearly stagnant. It's just partially moving.
Hmm. At 60 feet, I'll kind of just slowly soar above the trees, looking
He
for
drew
any.
a diagram of it. Very.
Did he
shittily.
mention
Basically
any
looks
sort
like,
of specific colors to it?
It just looks like a weed, just stems, and then like a sort of round, bulbous end at the end of it, bunched together. Distinctive enough where if there was like a patch of it, you'd be able to tell.
Like little moons.
Okay, so it's got a bit of a unique shape. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then I
you're
guess
going, like,
I'll
along the
kind of just
river.
look for any sort of actual patch of it instead of one singular.
Okay. Still can't make out colors
yeah,
in the
I'd
dark
probably
vision,
go
but
along the river at
looks
first to also
smudgy.
get a closer look at the river itself.
You stop. You tell me when to stop as far as how far.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I'll
so
kind of take a pause right around there
just
and
forest,
then
sadly.
try to look to the south,
You
see if
think
I
you
see
might
anything
spot a clearing further ahead
as
in the
far
river?
as
You're not
the
quite sure though.
plants. Hmm. I'll head towards it then.
Clearing on both sides. You believe you see some. Mm-hmm.
Alright, and okay, and those seem to be it.
Okay.
I'll take a brief
As you fly down
over, see
at the
if I
point
see
where
any
you are
creatures
closest
around
to
it
the
first.
river, something will happen. Natural one in perception.
Nice.
This will go a little wrong.
That I probably don't see.
As something smacks you in the back. And you go
Mhm.
tumbling down, hitting the ground right here.
Okay.
Well, you did a flyby down,
I'm
right?
gonna try to turn around and look to see what hit me from 60 feet in the air.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. You notice that coming down seems to be some sort of a
I was gonna
blob,
fly over
something that falls
first
back
and
into the
then
river
head down to it if I didn't
after
see
it hit you.
anything. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to warily watch the river as I go to the plant. And I'm gonna grab
You're able to.
We're
Also,
gonna
just
try
so
to
you know,
grab
that attack
2
that hit
at
you,
the
it-
root and
it's
just
sort of
try to
burning
kind of pluck it off at the root.
back, and you even feel some of your feathers singed. You got knocked to the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to shake to ensure that if there's any residue, it would have possibly flung off.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I'll take my quarry and fly higher back.
Go ahead.
I don't really want to fly over the river anymore.
I will try.
That's a
to-
good shout.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just fly along the path back.
As you get to this point in the path, you notice a bit of light coming from the northwest. If you inch a little bit further forward, yeah.
Can I see what's causing the light?
Brazier. And as you get even closer, well, scenes makes itself clear.
Sure. Take a brief gander.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Now we can check.
And I'll just head back.
Oh, God.
I'll explore that later.
I can only imagine.
Alright. Vidnov comes back a little
so I'll
worse
just
for
fly
wear.
back through the porthole in the ceiling.
Are you alright, friend?
I felt better.
Do you require some attention?
That would be quite nice. There was something in the river that attacked me.
Allow me but a moment. It has been a while. Despite that, they chant an old holy incantation, almost flawlessly.
Alright. Now your wounds are
Heal.
healed.
Nice.
Give them to me.
Ah, much better. He says, still holding the roots in his beak.
Well, perfect. Alright. We go up here and we're gonna smash them together.
He'll drop them into his hand.
No, he's smashing them up, and then he puts them in his pipe and begins to
He
smoke
takes
them.
the 2 plants and starts rubbing them together.
Much better. I can see clearly now. Thank you. Oh.
Ah,
Alright. As he begins to set up the ritual for his augury, I'm going to call the first session there. Hope you guys had fun.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry there was no combat. I know you guys wanted to test out the...
Very
Yeah,
entertaining.
A lot of them.
True.
Thanks for running.
They went a bit longer,
That's fine.
but not like seen a long amount of time. Is this like
We had
okay time for you
opportunities.
guys,
We
or any of you
could've
guys
jumped in
like
if we wanted to.
racing to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
right now?
Oh,
this should be alright.
You guys let me
Let's
know any
see.
point if like
Like
ain't
1
going on
a.m.
for a
you,
while.
isn't it, Jenny?
No, it's 3:30.
Oh.
Oh, sad.
Currently, I can continue with this schedule. I will let you know if anything changes.
Okay,
My Saturdays are
so,
open, and I'm also CST, so.
Mm.
yeah, the longest I would be able to go
Gotcha.
would be another hour
Mm.
because every other
We
weekend
did
I
3.5
work.
hours. I
So
feel like absolute
next
most we're gonna do
weekend, I would
any
the
other day
longest
would
I'd be able to
free.
go would be another hour to
So that should
turn
not be a
time.
Glad you guys enjoyed. Here's a
Sure
level
thing.
2.
That's fair.
That's good.
Oh, decided.
Ooh, are we level 2 or
pretty good.
3? I can't remember. Yeah.
We're level 7 now.
Hooray!
Awesome.
Don't try to spam the ding button.
Glad. I'm just happy
thought it
things
was
worked.
enjoyable.
I am sorry that I couldn't get the
good job.
Discord stream.
Indeed.
So there are a lot of points where you guys couldn't see. It's true. There's a bit of delay, but yeah, it's
Mm,
the end of the world.
that's alright.
That's okay. We can actually just pull up your stream too.
I will say before next week, definitely get in order the ideas or what you want to ask him. If it's anything besides just
Observe.
I don't know if those people are alive, more information on what you guys are looking for. Not sure how many questions you have or how that works. He's not clear about that, and if you ask him, he's still not gonna be clear about that. But
Yeah,
opportunity exists to
probably.
give some information. The moon, apparently.
No.
From the moon.
From the moon.
And you take the moon. And you take the moon.
I would assume that the best course of action for questions would be A, the people that were previous to us, and B, anything about the artifacts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Possibly C, any other ruins that were like the olden empire or something. Because that would my assumption as a player would be that artifacts would be in ruins. And that would be of like olden empires that had
You
fallen
guys do
or
know is the
something.
first.
You could just be led
Yeah, it's just-
directly towards follows of the
Father
werewolf
Claude
queen.
said is that the first
Also
artifact
good.
is said to be, or the
Possibly.
known location of one of the artifacts is said to be in Cast of Alaric.
Cast of Alaric.
They did mention that before we left.
That's true. We could ask about that.
The information that exists. At the moment. Oh,
Let's see. Good old sanctuary. So,
I'm updating my notes. Found some moon drugs. Attacked by a river.
Sentient
Period.
river. I mean, you're a sentient crow, so
one
turnabout's
moment.
fair play.
Straight.
woo.
Hey everyone, I'm not sure who's actually watching and who's just not like one of my friends just leaving the stream open, help me out. But thanks. You guys enjoyed? More combat, things get exciting. As with any D&D campaign, party dynamic increases, things get better. Everything parties are always more and more fun the longer you're with them. This is the best thing that I like. Get the chill party, getting to know each other at the start.
Yeah, that was nice and fun.
Mhm.
Better
Atmosphere was very
times,
nice.
Combat.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Some really
stream.
cool foundry effects. I don't want to
Exhausted.
And
Birds.
yeah. Birds.